Crystal and I are here to present some Living Legend Award recipients for 2024. It's with great honor and privilege to celebrate the achievements and the profound impact of John Bliss and Kim Thompson, our 2024 Living Legend recipients. John is a dedicated Oakland resident and a proud parent of 2 adult children. With a licensure in professional civil engineering in California, John brings a wealth of expertise and experience to his professional endeavors. As president and senior engineer of SCI Consulting Group since March 2002, John played a pivotal role in overseeing all aspects of the company's operations, from managing public opinion polling to handling fee, tax, and assessment engineering, as well as spearheading the local cannabis policy initiatives. John's leadership has positioned SCI Consulting as California's premier public agency revenue mechanism. John's academic journey includes earning a Master's of Engineering degree in Civil Engineering from the University of California, Berkeley, where he was recognized as a Regent Scholar. He also holds a Bachelor of Science in Engineering from Brown University. Committed to making a difference in his community, John serves on several boards and actively participates in numerous organizations aimed at fostering positive change. Notably, he is a board member of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce Foundation and Youth Alive, where he plays a pivotal role in violence prevention efforts. He has also been involved in various initiatives relative to park maintenance, homelessness services, and youth development in Oakland. Recognized for his outstanding contributions, John has received several awards and accolades, including the Volunteer of the Year from Oakland Magazine and the Community Champion Award from the Life Goes On Foundation. Beyond his professional and community engagement, his passion for Oakland local politics and commitment to hosting gatherings at his historical home in Oakland further reflects his dedication to his community. With a remarkable blend of professional expertise, community engagement, and personal interests, John embodies a true leader and change maker in the Oakland community.
Good morning. I am here to present Kim Thompson, and I equally love them both. So thank you so much, Beebe, for allowing us to have this honor. I actually met Kim and John at one of their fundraisers and socials at their historical Oakland home, and so I can testify personally to the extent and the experience and opportunity they provide so many in the community. Kim is a retired principal from PricewaterhouseCoopers, LLP. Kim's illustrious 24-year career at one of the world's leading professional services firms is a testament to her unwavering dedication, visionary leadership, and relentless pursuit of excellence. Throughout her tenure at PwC, Kim held various pivotal roles, demonstrating her exceptional capabilities and commitment to advancing racial equity, fostering inclusive workplaces, and championing social justice initiatives. As a founding fellow of the CEO Action for Racial Equity Fellowship, Kim played a pivotal role in shaping sustainable public policies and corporate engagement strategies aimed at advancing racial equity across the United States. Her leadership at PwC Global Advisory Risk and Quality Leader, coupled with her role at the U.S. Black Inclusion Leadership Network, underscored her profound commitment to driving positive change and fostering a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion. But beyond her professional endeavors, Kim is a tireless advocate for her local community, serving on boards of numerous organizations dedicated to empowering underserved youth, education, equity, and advancing social justice causes. Her exemplary leadership as the chair of the Board for Legal Services for Children and invaluable contributions to organizations such as Oakland Promise Board, the S.H. Cowell Foundation, and MLK Junior Freedom Center exemplify her unwavering dedication to creating a more just and equitable society. That's one of the themes that runs through both of their bios, equity and justice. Kim's outstanding achievements and contributions have been widely recognized and celebrated, earning her numerous accolades and awards, including being named one of the 150 most influential women in business in the San Francisco Business Times. Her commitment to community service and philanthropy has also been acknowledged with honors such as a Lifetime Achievement Award from her high school and the Community Champion Award from the Life Goes On Foundation. As we gather today to honor John Bliss, and Kim Thompson today, let us not only celebrate their remarkable achievements and accomplishments, but also draw inspiration from their unwavering dedication to make a positive difference in the world. Their legacies serve as beacons of hope and reminders of the profound impact that individuals can have on the lives of others and the betterment of society as a whole. Please join me in congratulating John Bliss and Kim Thompson, true living legends, on this well-deserved recognition.
Thank you so much, Crystal and George. That was just wonderful. Thank you so much. And good morning, everyone. I'm Kim Thompson and my husband, John Bliss. We are truly honored to be here today. The other living legends that you're honoring today, as well as those you've honored this month already, are truly huge legends, and we are honored to be included among them. Thank you, Senior Pastor Antoine Shine, Antoinette Porter, I know you're here, and everyone at Beebe Memorial. And thanks to our good friend, Nicole Felix Borders, who I know also was part of coming up with recognizing us today. Thank you to our many friends and family who are here in attendance, including our daughter, Mandela Bliss, our son, Thompson Bliss, who can't be here with us because he lives in New York and couldn't make it, but he's here with us in spirit. Our friend Maury Rasmussen, who I think is here. Here she is. Our friend Pat Hardy, living legend Roy Wilson, and Karen Bulkey, who I believe are here. Here's Karen. And Nick and Renee Williams, thank you for joining us. Dwayne Akins, I think, is here too. There he is. Thank you for coming. Of course, Michael Johnson, who we love and we hope you will vote for, as well as our other good friend, Greg Hodge, who you also know and who's also here, and many other friends who are here, and I know I'm probably missing some, but thank you so much for joining us. John and I love community. That's just sort of how we're wired. We always knew that we'd be very involved in our community, but we never really knew exactly how. There was no master plan, but somehow here we are. And as it turns out, our role and our mission is as community connectors and connectors of people, ideas, and hosts and problem solvers and challengers of the status quo, but most of all, optimistic, forward-thinking community cheerleaders. Without hesitation, and sometimes, frankly, we should probably have hesitated a little more, we host, we talk, we discuss, we challenge, we connect, and we support addressing Oakland's most difficult issues, including public safety, education equity, homelessness, systemic racism, community morale, and many other issues. And we'd like to briefly share with you how we came to be where we are today, and how every time we give, it comes back to us in much more than we've given. A couple decades ago, we started hosting small events for some of the community nonprofit organizations that we're on the boards of, and or for people who are running for office whose values aligned with ours. Word got out, and people would ask if they could meet with us to talk about their organizations or their plans for the community. And at first, we'd meet them for coffee, and then we said, you know, why don't we have them over for dinner? It works better for us, and everybody has to eat, right? So we'd invite them over, and they would tell us about their organizations or their ideas, and we'd offer to host a fundraiser or fundraiser for them where we'd meet more people who would want to meet, and somehow the whole thing just snowballed into something that we never imagined would happen. And we now hold our sort of special dinners for 1 or 2 people coming to tell us about things about once or twice a week, and 30 to 80 person fundraisers or fundraisers or community events about once or twice a month. And I'm happy to report that our daughter Mandela, who also serves on a couple of boards here in Oakland, now also hosts events at our house. And although she no longer lives with us, every time we host an event, she comes over and helps us, whether she has any connection to the organization or not. And for that, we are eternally grateful. So what we do in Oakland and why we do it is a direct result of how blessed we feel we are. I'm a very fortunate black woman. I grew up in a family with 2 parents who were married to each other. Both were well educated, and although they and I, we were all descendants of people who were enslaved, they were enslaved in the Caribbean. Our descendants were enslaved in the Caribbean, where enslavement was different, and it ended decades earlier than it did here in the United States. And when slavery ended in the Caribbean, black people in the Caribbean were not subjected to the same Jim Crow laws and black code laws and the decades and decades of continuing oppression that continued in the United States and continue even today as they did in this country. And unlike in the United States, for decades, and even in my own parents' generation, who are in their 90s and going on 100, black youth then had teachers who looked like them, and doctors who looked like them, and judges who looked like them, and national leaders who looked like them, unlike anything that we even see remotely to the extent that we should today in the United States. And my parents came to this country, to North America, because they wanted to come and they had the resources to do so. And my amazing husband, John, who, don't worry, I will let speak in a few minutes, he had a similarly fortunate background as me. His parents were married to each other, both were well educated, but he also grew up with a privilege that few of us in this room will ever know. He grew up as a straight white man in a country that values and appreciates straight white men and favors straight white men. But his parents instilled in him the same community-first moral compass that my parents instilled in me. His parents emphasized the need to address the racial divide in this country, although when he married me, they may have gotten a little more than they bargained for. But despite all the privileges that I have and I own and I fully appreciate, I see firsthand what it means on a daily basis to be a black woman in this country. When I'm not Kim, who went to this school or lives in that house or was a partner here or there or on that board, I'm a black woman who's anonymous, who's walking through the streets anonymously. And many in this room know exactly what that means in terms of how we're treated, with a level of distrust and dismissal. And John, having been married to me for over 3 decades, he's witnessed it as well. And if we, with all our privileges, feel deep frustration and hurt and exhaustion from the systemic racism in this country that we continue to grapple with, we know that people who have not all the privileges that we have feel it tenfold, even 100-fold. So for us, we can't just stand by the sidelines and point at the problem and just hope it goes away. We need to be part of the solution. So for us, we see a world where we need to do what Pastor Shine spoke of last week. We need to show up because we can. We need to set a good example, not just for our children, but also for others who have the wherewithal, the ability to show up and answer the call, but somehow they haven't yet shown up and they don't yet see it as their duty to do so. And we feel a strong obligation to answer the call. To whom much is given, much will be required. But we also do it out of selfishness, to be perfectly honest, because we see that every time we give our time, our resources, our effort, what comes back is blessings tenfold, 100-fold back to us. One very tiny example, years ago, 20 years ago, we gave financial support for a basketball court to be built in West Oakland at Defirmary Park. And when the project was done, we went to see, went to watch the ribbon cutting. And when we got there, we stood in the back of a huge crowd, and we noticed that there were 2 empty seats in the area set up for the Oakland city officials and dignitaries. And we thought, that's so odd. And there's a seat right beside a Golden State Warrior player. Remember Festus Ezeli? He was sitting there, and these 2 empty seats, and we thought it was strange that no one had showed up in their seats. And so we squinted a little to see the names on the seats, and we realized that those seats had our names on them. And we thought, from that point on, we thought of ourselves a little differently. We saw ourselves as, we were honored, of course, but we saw ourselves as called on to get on that stage, physically and metaphorically, to really show up for our community and to encourage others to do the same. But frankly, the excitement and the smiles on the faces of the young kids as their brand new court was unveiled was much more of a thank you than we ever could have wanted for our small part in getting the court built. Now, John, why don't you tell them one other quick story of how we think.
Good. Great. Good morning, everyone. Let's give it up for my amazing wife, Kim. So I'm going to tell a similar story about how we gave, and it came back 10 times, 100 times. And this story, coincidentally, also has to do with basketball, but we're involved in a lot of other things here. Just to be clear, we're an Oakland Tech family. I don't know if there are any Bulldogs here today. Okay, so our son, who's in New York and couldn't make here, is an Oakland Tech grad, and I've been a long volunteer for the last 30 years, so we're very involved in it. So, as you may know, Oakland Tech's Lady Bulldogs basketball team has won the state championship the last few years in a row. And somehow, after their championship back in 2022, OUSD and the city said they didn't have the funds to do a parade, even though MAC boys football team had won the state championship the year before and got a big parade. So the word came to us because of our involvement in Oakland Tech that the girls, there was no parade or anything like that. So through a friend, someone reached out and asked if we would host a kind of celebration for them, which we were, of course, said we would immediately. And so it was for the coaches and for the players themselves and for their parents, maybe 20 or 30 people in our backyard. And so as we're working with the coaches ahead of time and getting the food and the number of the people, they give us some big news. Steve Kerr is going to attend, and that sounds great. Well, then 2 or 3 days later, we hear Steve Kerr can't attend, and it's going to be Draymond, and then GP2. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but you hear a lot of things in Oakland. So I'm starting to get a little skeptical. They had just won, the Golden State Warriors had just won the World Championship a couple days before, so we weren't sure any of them were going to make it. And so let me get back on script here. And so we were just excited to celebrate the Lady Bulldogs' achievement. But then the day of the event, the coach came up to me and said, John, at 6:30 tonight, Klay Thompson is going to be here. And again, I took it all with a grain of salt. That would be great. I don't think Klay Thompson is coming to my house. So we just sat there and we had the food and everything. And I can see the coach looking at her watch. And at 6:15, then at 6:30, 6:45, there's no Klay Thompson. Now, there's a place in our backyard where I can look down the driveway and I can see. And I look down and I see about a 350,000 completely wrapped Mercedes. I can't tell who's in it, but I know to wave to come up the driveway. And so I knew that much. And so I wave, and then sure enough, out of this beautiful car walks Klay Thompson. And all the good you hear about him, we can absolutely confirm. He sat there, he told jokes with all the girls, he took a picture with each of them with their ring, their championship ring. He should have been in LA at some fancy party, but he wanted to spend time with these girls instead. And he's kind of a goofy, nerdy guy. He's not a cool, cocky guy. He's really a special person. But it all comes back to us, and Kim's kind of joking, saying that about selfishness and how it comes back. Never in a million years did we think we would be here being honored by you all, and never in a million years did we think Klay Thompson was going to be in our backyard. So just another little story about how giving and receiving are so important. So this time I will get back on script. We could stand here and she's hurrying me along. We could stand here and tell you dozens of stories just like this. Every time we've given our time, our sweat, our treasure, something amazing happens in return. Every time. And your kind recognition of us today is another cherished example of it. Many thanks to Beebe Memorial Cathedral again for this kind recognition. We are truly honored and grateful, and thank you, Beebe, for all you do and give in the community. We seek to emulate you. Thank you so much.
Hey man, come on, let's give it up.